To introduce myself, I've been into IT, so it's 13 years now. Initially, I was working for security, the infra security. So then I also working for a DBA for some time. And from last 5 years, I working for analytics team. Mainly work for the Splunk as well as the Hadoop. So I work for one of the company as a solution architect, where we mainly work with the clients for deploying complete Splunk solution, starting from setting up Splunk environment, then building use cases based on the customer requirement. As far as project is concerned, I think I can count more than 80 plus projects what we delivered from last 5 years. As far as training is concerned, so I generally take weekdays and weekend training on the Splunk, both on admin as well as the development track. So that's mainly, so whatever training I take is based on the knowledge which I gain from actual project execution. So that's on the quick introduction on my end. So as far as this training is concerned, so let me take you through the outline, what exactly we're going to cover. As far as this training is concerned, so in the Splunk, so you need to learn from the both fronts, I mean administration as well as the development. So we tailored certification to cover this both tracks, both administration as well as the development. So the total number of hours for administration and development, it goes around 25 hours, 16 hours for admin and 9 hours for the development. So in terms of the topics what we cover, we start from the overview of the Splunk, mainly to understand what is Splunk, how it is capable, how it is placed in the market. Then we also going to discuss on architecture part. So that's on the overview of the Splunk. Then we discuss on the installation. So installation is mainly, how we can do the installation of Splunk on the Linux as well as the Windows. So what are the prerequisites we need to complete before installation? So that thing we are going to cover. But then we are also going to discuss on the configuration side. So now the Splunk administration, it is, I know it's not completely graphical user interface. So around 60% of the administration tasks you do on graphical user interface. The remaining 40% you need to do on the command line. So when you are doing it on the command line, you need to certainly aware of, what are the configuration file are available and what for those configuration file is, what is the path of those configuration file. So the considering that, so we discuss on the configuration file in the detail. So then Splunk app and apps management. So in the Splunk, all the use cases, so comes like an app. The similar way how you have in the Google Android. So you come the individual use case as an app. The similar way in the Splunk, you will find the app, the use cases as an app. So you can create your own app, or you can, download apps from the marketplace and you can use it. So then we are also going to discuss on role and authentication. That is something, how you create users, how you can give, right access to the users. So mainly the access management part we are going to discuss. Then the license management. So license is something, Splunk is enterprise product. So you need to certainly buy the license and you need to upload license and you need to configure it, how to use it, you need to monitor it. So all those things we discuss on the license management part. So then we have the indexes. So the indexes is something, it is part of Splunk, where our Splunk data, whatever you collecting from external sources, you store it on the index. But it's kind of a database. So generally in relational database, where we have the relational databases, right? So the similar way in the Splunk has got its own index. It's not kind of RDS relational database, but rather it's a kind of Hadoop mapper, the algorithm database, where it stores the data and which also makes the search very faster. Right, when you are searching data from the indexes, it's quite faster when compared to any other relational data. So the Splunk universal forwarder, so we mainly discuss on how you can collect data from the server. So universal forwarder is something kind of agent which you install it on the server, and from that server you can collect the data. That is something the universal forwarder. So then the deployment management, so it's mainly for the managing the configuration file of your universal forwarder. For example, you have 1,000 plus servers and you install universal forwarder. So you don't need to manage 1,000 plus universal forwarder independently. So rather Using the deployment manager server, so you can sitting on the central server, you can manage configuration of universal forward. So you can say which data need to be collected, where need to be forwarded, all this. We are also going to discuss on input methods. So other than universal forwarder, we discuss on how we can integrate devices, maybe site-PS, IDS or network devices, how to configure with the Splunk. So then we are also going to discuss on the basic production environment, how it should be, what are the prerequisites, what are the configuration we need to consider. Then we discuss on the search engine, how to configure the search engine, in terms of better performance and high availability. So we are also going to discuss on the data parsing. So when you collect from the various data sources, the data which are coming, it's not always structured. So in this analytics platform, you are expected to get unstructured data as well. So when you get the unstructured data, you structure it around. So because at the end of the day, when you are doing the analysis, you expect the data in a structured way. So before it is getting into the analyze phase, you need to, structure it. So that we call it as a parsing. So then certain scaling and monitoring. So how you can scale the search nodes and how we can monitor it. So then we finally discuss on the production kind of implementation, because when you are getting into production, maybe it's enterprise security or maybe for business analytics, so you cannot run your Splunk on a single node. So you certainly require multiple nodes for searching, multiple nodes for storing data. So there we consider the cluster part. In the cluster implementation, we mainly discuss, we can create cluster of searcher, cluster of indexer. Finally, we also discuss on the management console. So now the management console, this is something monitoring for Splunk itself. So because when Splunk grows in multiple nodes, monitoring the health status of Splunk itself is very crucial. So for that, the Splunk came up with the distributed management console through which you can monitor the health status of your Splunk setup. So you can monitor, in terms of resource consumption, in terms of health status, in terms of the network connectivity, in terms of data forwarding status of forwarders. So the complete end-to-end Splunk health monitoring can be done with the distributed management console. So that's with on the administration topic. In the development topic, so these are the topics we mainly cover it on development. So the development we can do. So in the goal of development topics is mainly to enable you for starting with the development job, mainly to build use cases on whatever data you brought to Splunk setup. So we mainly discuss initially on the development concept, how the development concept is different from traditional development activity, right? So then we discuss on the basic searching, and we discuss on fields and searches. We're going to discuss on creating sequence of query, so then scheduling it, then saving it. We're going to discuss on alerts. We are going to discuss on reports. So we are also going to discuss on the Splunk search command, because that is something through which you do the analysis. The Splunk has got its own the search language. We call it as a search processing language, SPL. So it has got various commands doing various analysis, like arithmetical or logical or transforming data. So you have around 200 plus commands in the Splunk with various options. So you can use for searching, you can for transforming, you can use for reporting. So you can do the complete analysis of data, and once your analysis is done, so you can convert that analysis into the human readable format, right? So generally people wanted to have analysis in kind of report or kind of a visualization. So with kind of bar chart or line chart or pie chart. So Splunk has got that capability as well. So once you do the analysis, you can render it with various graphical interface. So that we are going to discuss. Then we are also going to discuss mainly on the analyzing, calculating and formatting results. So in case there is a data which is coming in one format, and if you wanted to convert into other formats, so there are options in it. So finally, we are also going to discuss on how to create reports and dashboard, both in the basic and advanced level. We are targeted to discuss on the Splunk, mainly the one of the most fast growing as well as being more attractive in the market in the analytical platform, that is Splunk. We are going to spend around 40 to 45 minutes today on this platform. So we need to understand what is Splunk, how it is placed in the market, what are the use cases being built on the Splunk. We are also going to understand the architecture of this. Just to keep this interactive, so you can just interrupt me in case if you have any query in between. I'm here to help everyone. So let me first start with answering what is Splunk. Now, in the market, we more often hear the word called big data, right? And we also hear the word called analytics. The Splunk is a platform that's mainly, well stored on the area of analytics or the area of executing the big data use cases. So it's capable mainly to collect data from the various data sources. Since for big data or for the analytics, the data is very key important thing. So Splunk is well capable to collect data from the various data sources. So mainly when I say various data sources, data sources can be, it's like servers, or it can be from the social media, it can be from the sensors, it can be from, any of the databases which are already available in some data center. It can also integrate with, even devices like mobile devices, even cloud. So as far as Splunk its own document, Splunk is capable of getting integrated to around 430 data sources seamless. So once it's getting integrated to the database, it can store the data, the whatever is coming from the data source. And once data is get stored, and Splunk has inbuilt capability through which we can write the various analytical queries, and we can build the use cases around like application delivery, like IT operations, like security and the compliance. We can also build use cases around the business analytics. So when I say business analytics, it's more on, the company revenue, company finance, company, IT operation management. So it can also well suited for IoT use cases. When I say IoT, so it can be integrated with the sensors, it can be integrated with the larger data set what is available in the industry data. So when I say industry data, mainly it's manufacturing factory sector. So it can very well integrate with all the data sources and we can build use cases. So now the immediate question when whenever I'm trying to explain to someone on this plan, which is a competitive product to the Splunk. Right. So that's something it comes from everyone's mind. In terms of naming the competitor to the Splunk on the Splunk analytical platform, you can compare with the Hadoop. So Hadoop is in the market for a long time. What is the major difference between the Hadoop and Splunk? The Hadoop, it is kind of community product. It's mainly the open source product and it's also being acquired by some of the companies and they are providing the solution. So, but Hadoop as a product, it's not like a single product, right? So, if you look at Hadoop, it has got 400 plus tools within that. If you take a simple example, if you wanted to do an analysis of log from your server, let's take a very basic example. Or if you wanted to do some real-time log analysis for our server. Now, in case of Hadoop, if you wanted to do some real-time use cases, so you need to pick and choose various products. For example, for collecting logs, you may require to, pick either Kafka or Flume. And for storing the data, then you need to next, create some databases, maybe to Solar or HPA. And the next for doing analysis, so you have to, develop some product using some Java code. Or you need to use again some third-party tool, which has got a user interface like Power BI or Calc. So it's like setting up simple use cases. You need to run behind multiple tools and you need to integrate them and then you need to build the use case from that. So again, it's for one type of. Now, if you wanted to get into some batch type of data set, you need to do another type of tools integration. So, but in the Splunk, the beauty of the Splunk is, so the complete Splunk has got only single software bundle through which you can install it on the server and then you can immediately start collecting the data, storing the data, even doing the analysis and presenting on the various formats. It can be in the dashboard, it can be in the report, and it can be on the alerts. All these features, data collection, data store, data analysis, and data presentation. It's everything can be done in a single day. So that's something, it is a very, very interesting feature with Splunk where, a lot of people are being attracted and a lot of people are using Splunk for various analytical. Now, in terms of, Splunk capability or features, how it is, different from traditional database, right? So for a long time you have been, doing a analysis. It may not be very larger data set, smaller data set on the traditional database. So now what something it makes Splunk is very, very unique in terms of, the data analytics concept. The key difference, if you look at in the diagram, this is a traditional database where you have a schema and you have the SQLs, it can be ADT. So when the data gets stored or when data gets read when doing the searches, the traditional database where you have to build a schema, when you're storing the data. And again, when you're searching the data, most of the functions that work in the SQL schema, which makes very, poor performance when you are searching very larger set of data. When it is coming to Splunk, the Splunk, when it is writing data to the disk, it will not create any scheme. So instead of that, it will just write your data, whatever the format is. So if it is a log or if it is a normal text file or CSV file or, some sensor data or some database data, everything will store just like raw in the disk. That makes its write performance much, much faster. So again, the writing, so Splunk has a capability which can read the data parallelly from the multiple nodes so that the search service no need to wait for long. And that is the key difference from, normal database as well as from the Splunk. In terms of Splunk, where exactly, you can fit yourself in terms of the career path. So that's something, everyone wanted to discuss around. So once you learn the Splunk, okay, so where you can pick around in the market. In the Splunk, since it's a platform, so it has got the one career path, is mainly the Splunk admin. So in the Splunk admin, the concentration as the person who is getting the role, so he mainly takes care of Splunk environment, like creating servers, installing Splunk, data onboarding, creation of user, security, access control. So he also responsible for creating various apps, also taking care of complete Splunk environment. So there is another career path you may get into like Splunk developer. So Splunk developer is someone who mainly takes care of the building the use cases around it. So you can build use case on IT operational analytics, security, or it can be the business related use cases. So you will mainly focus on developing the use cases. So there might be another role in some of the company they expect you to do perform both Splunk admin as well as a developer role. And the final option which is kind of, you can use your Splunk skill set, whatever you learn as a complementary skill for your existing thread. For example, if you're a security expert, Splunk is, best suited. In fact, it's being considered as the best tool for security analysis. So you can, use Splunk as a security analysis tool for your existing skills. So that's how you can place yourself, as a career path on the Splunk area. So the next thing, let's understand Splunk mainly in the architecture point of view in the case. As I was referring, you can get a Splunk in the single software bundle and you can install it on either it can be Linux or it can be on Windows. And after installing Splunk to perform complete analytical use cases or analytical services, the Splunk has got its own internal role and each role has got its own defined function to perform. The first role is something called search set. The search set is a role, it mainly helps in the Splunk to the developers and users to search the data and build a Splunk queries and then store those queries as a dashboard or report or other. So once you store your query as a format of dashboard or report or other. The normal users, mainly the business users, they can log into the Splunk portal and they can see what is there in the Splunk. They can straight away, look at the dashboard, maybe in the various formats like table, pie chart or maybe line chart. So they can look at those pre-created dashboards and they can do the analysis. The next layer is the indexer. So the indexer is something which mainly takes care of the data store. So it will collect data from the various data sources and it stores itself and it gives the data back to the search, mainly the search thread whenever search thread requests. So it's like search thread connects to the indexer and searches for the data. The another role, namely the data collection and forwarding, where you get another piece of small software which you need to install it on. In case of server, you need to install it on either Windows or Linux server, and you can configure those forwarder to forward the data to the user. So it's like installing the forward record various servers and configuring it such a way that it can send the data to the user. And this forwarder is capable of collecting any type of the logs in the server. So be it the operating system log, or it can be a application log, or it can be a database log, or it can be some device log as well. The next thing, there is something called the clustering concept in the Splunk. Splunk, since it's being an analytical tool, so you need to have multiple nodes to run in parallelly to fulfill the performance requirement of the analytics use cases. So in that case, you can horizontally expand the number of machines in the Splunk. So you may start with single node, you can increase to 2, 3, 4, or even I saw there are cases 23 nodes put together. So in that case, so you need to have, there is something called clustering. The Splunk has the ability to create a cluster and it can take care of very large set of nodes as a single group of nodes. So that's mainly taken care by the index cluster role. There are other roles like a deployment server, which mainly helps to manage the forwarder. So in terms of doing the configuration management, like pushing the configuration file, validating whether forwarders are collecting data or not, validating whether the health status of forwarders are healthy or not. So all those activities done by the deployment. Then finally the license server. The Splunk is something, it's not kind of open source tool or it's not a freeware, rather it's a enterprise tool. You can use the Splunk with proper enterprise license. So once you buy the license, so you need to know how to manage the license, what are the type of license, those things. Then license master something, it mainly controls the license consumption as well as it monitors, as well as it provides the interface to upload the license key to the Splunk environment. So that's on high level the various roles in the Splunk. It's like search set, indexer, forwarder, the cluster master, the deployment server, and the license master. Now in terms of Splunk installation, so if you wanted to do a Splunk installation, so you can download the Splunk software from the Splunk portal. You can go into the edu extra, and when you download the Splunk software, within the single software, you will get all the role whatever we do, like indexer, search set, deployment server, license master, as well as the cluster master. So you will get all the roles in the single software. You don't need to pick and choose various roles for it. Comes everything on the single software. Now in terms of Splunk installation, you have option to install Splunk on a single Linux box or single Windows box. You also have an option where you can install Splunk on the multiple nodes. So generally, when customers wanted to explore the Splunk, they wanted to do kind of testing or some basic development. Everyone goes with the single node concept. So generally we call it as a standalone installation. In this method, what we do is we simply install the Splunk on one of the machines, and the moment you install the Splunk software, all the roles, whatever we discussed, it gets enabled in the single machine. And from there, you can store the data, and you can search the data, and you can do that. And again, this mainly serves in case of some testing or kind of POC kind of use case. So, but when you get into the production grade environment, so when it's a production grade, so when there are multiple developers, multiple the users are accessing your Splunk setup, you cannot run your Splunk environment on the single machine. So in that case, you need to have the multiple nodes to serve your analytical service. So generally, to start with, what we do is we start with minimum 5 machines for the Splunk in case of production environment. So it can be 5 Linux servers or it can be 5 Windows servers. Then we install the Splunk across all the 5 nodes and then we specifically say, look, these 2 nodes has to function as a subject and these 2 nodes has to function as a indexer. And generally the one node, we assign it for the cluster master role, deployment server role, as well as a license server. So the reason why single node is it's not resource hungry or it's not critical in terms of availability or performance of this. So it is okay to keep it on the single node. But when it is searched and indexed, it mainly defines your performance of your search. And if you feel you are going to load a lot of data, then you may require to expand indexer to multiple nodes. You may require to expand your searches to the multiple nodes. And all these nodes will work as a cluster. So in case one node goes down, the complete replica of this particular node is available across other nodes. So even this goes down, so the users can continue working on other. The similarly, in case of indexer, if one of the indexer goes down, your data copy will be available in other indexer. The user can keep continue work. So that's how it works. I mean, your indexer is in the cluster and it is replicating data replication. The searcher is in the cluster and all your searches, dashboards, reports will be keep getting replicated across the cluster. Now again to highlight, the searcher will mainly store your Splunk queries, searches, your dashboards, reports, and objects. The indexer mainly stores the data, whatever it's being collected from the various data. And in this diagram, so we have shown universal forwarder. It's nothing but a forwarder, small software where Splunk provides. And you can install it across servers, from the Windows server or Linux server or even Mac. And you can configure those to send data to the index. So other than that, there is a component in the diagram, the load balance. So the load balancer is something that's not part of Splunk, so it is external service. So it can be in case of on-premises any load balancer apply, or in case of cloud, it can be a cloud load. So here what happens is, since you have multiple searches, so you cannot tell your developer, you need to log in this searcher with this IP address or log in other searcher with this IP address. So instead of that, so you can have a common load balancer which will give you single IP address which can be shared with the developers or users, and they can connect to the load balancer and the load balancer will distribute users according to the load. For example, if 10 users are coming, so the load balancer will distribute 5 users to one searcher and 5 users to others. So likewise, the load balancer will help to distribute users across the search. So that's how you can use the Splunk for complete the production environment. The next thing that I was explaining mainly how Splunk is placed in the market. Since it's a platform, it's being used on various use cases. Now, in one of the use cases, one of the area where Splunk is very, very strong, it is on the security point of view. So in the security point of view, so when I say security, mainly on the SIEM. So what does SIEM is? It's a kind of tool in the market, mainly for doing the security analysis of your data center or your cloud. SIEM tools which are already there in the market other than Splunk, example, there are tools from IBM, there are tools from HP, there are tools from different other vendors. If you look at this particular quadrant, mainly this quadrant gets released by the Gartner, and Gartner is a third-party vendor who mainly does the market analysis for each and every product in the market, and they release something called quadrant. So mainly to display the product capability in the market. So they release it for almost each and every product. Now, specific to security area, the SIEM area, they generally release it. So this is the latest quadrant for 2020. So it's released by the Gartner. And here if you look at, the quadrant superiority, it comes from, follows like leaders, then challengers, then, other two in the bottom, right? So like leadership players and the visionaries. Now this is a quadrant where it's mainly, all the top products you can find. Now if you look at in the quadrant, Splunk is, much better place. In the quadrant, generally it goes in two quadrants. One is completeness of vision, other one is ability to execute. So in terms of completeness to vision, hygiene is slightly, looking better. But if you look at the Splunk, mainly ability to execute as well as completeness of a vision, it is placed much better. Splunk, again, now, whatever the quadrant, it is one of the use case of the Splunk. It is not for complete Splunk as a platform this quadrant. It is for SIM tool capability of Splunk only. For that itself, Splunk is very much better. Now, other areas you can use Splunk, like business, IT operational, or building your own security analysis on the Splunk, which you can do always. So that's mainly how Splunk is placed in the market in terms of security. Now, other than that, this is a Splunk portal. Okay, so we generally get into Splunk.com, which is a portal where we mainly get our software, we get our patch updates, we get our the security related use case or any other use case right. Now, in case if you wanted to set up, very basic Splunk environment, okay, the Splunk provides the software for trial use. So how we can use it is, you need to click on this free Splunk. So moment you say free Splunk, it will ask you for the username and password. So now in the username and password, something you need to create. Okay, so you need to create with your giving your own details, or if you have something yourself which you can feed it. So let me just feed my username and password quickly, and let me log in and demonstrate what are the information is available in the Splunk.com. So now moment you log into Splunk.com and if you click on the free Splunk, so you will get an option where you can find the various Splunk products. The Splunk mainly comes into a product type. One is a Splunk Enterprise, which you need to download the software and you need to install and configure on your server. And there is another way where Splunk has got its own Splunk Cloud, where you are not going to install the Splunk, rather it is available as a service in the cloud which you can use it straight up. So other than there is a Splunk Lite and Splunk Free, it is something free product. Again, Lite is not free. Splunk Free is free, you can use it, but in terms of features, the key features like clustering, the user access management, the real-time search, those features are not available in the free Splunk. But the Splunk Enterprise something, so you can download and you can play around, and that is goes for 60 days. So you can use for 60 days. So other than that, I was also referring to the forward, small forwarder, which it's required to collect data from the various data sources. So it can be your Windows server or it can be your Linux server. So you can download this universal forwarder and you can install it on those servers, and you can configure this forwarder to send data to the Splunk, which we discussed in our Splunk Enterprise something. So if I select this, so it will take us to select our operating system type. So we can install Splunk on either on the Windows environment, can it be Linux, or can it be Mac. So if it is a Linux environment, you can pick and choose whether it is a Linux based or other. You can see if it is Linux based or Windows based. So you can look at what type of software it's which operating system you wanted to install. You can install it. So again, to quickly to take you through this portal, and as soon as you log into the Splunk homepage, so you need to click on free Splunk. Now, moment you click on the free Splunk, so you will find options like Splunk Enterprise, Splunk Cloud, Splunk Lite as well as a Splunk Free. Splunk Enterprise something you can use it for 60 days as a trial. Cloud is something you can get it for 15 days. You can get it for Splunk Lite and Splunk Free, which are script version of the Splunk, which is not full set.
right? So if you wanted to really, check the Splunk capability, so you need to download Splunk Enterprise. So other than that, the universal forwarder, this is a agent which you can download to the Splunk, download to your servers. It can be Windows or Linux or Unix. And using this forwarder, you can forward data to the main Splunk installation. Now, if I click on Splunk Enterprise, it will give you option to download your Splunk software for your operating system. So it can be for Windows, it can be for Linux, or it can be for Mac. So this is how you can download Splunk. In the Splunk, in terms of building the use cases, right? So I was referring each and every time. Since Splunk is a platform, so you can develop the use cases yourself, or you can download some use cases from the market. So for developing the Splunk, we generally need the development skill. Splunk has got its own SQL command in the language using which you can build the various use cases in the Splunk. So now other way around is you can download apps for the Splunk. For example, there is something called Splunk Base. So now if you go to the Splunk Base, you can refer it as like Google Play, right? So in case if you have an Android phone, you can go to Google Play and you can download various apps and you can start using it, right? The similar way for Windows also, we have various apps, which is already pre-created. You can download and start using it. For example, if I look at Windows for, Splunk app for Windows infrastructure, you can download this app and install it on the Splunk, and it also gives the agent to collect data from the Windows server. And once data is collected in the Splunk, so Splunk app something which comes with dashboard, something like that. It can give, in case of if your Windows environment domain controller, it can give the domain controller status. So it can help you to do a event monitoring. So it can help you to do, the utilization, monitoring, right? So likewise, for each, I can say area of the data center, you can have an app. For example, when I say Windows, so you have an app for Windows. Example, if I say Linux, you have it for Linux, Splunk app for Linux, and even example, if I Splunk app for AWS. So you can connect the Splunk to the AWS and you can do analysis of your AWS as well. So like example, how many VMs you are running, right? What is the percentage of the consumption? What is the predicted cost for you, right? Estimated billing. So these things, if you look at the AWS console, so you won't get these detailed, so proper way. So it is scattered here and there. But you can use the Splunk for doing those. The similar way, there are almost all the vendors in the market nowadays, they give apps for Splunk. For example, now if I go for Cisco. Now if you look at Cisco Security Search, so this is a pre-created app and it's again developed by the Cisco and it is uploaded to, the Splunk portal. And they will, help you to do your security analysis from whatever logs coming from Cisco device, right? So in terms of, the top sources, top destination and other security aspects of analysis, right? How your traffic is coming from the various geographies, all this information which can be easily tracked. So other than that, if you search for any product, example, if you product for Azure, so you will get apps related to Azure. Example, let me take for Java, mainly for JVM, so Java monitoring. You will get, for example, if you select Oracle, the Oracle related app you will get. So each and every product in the market has got its own app where you can monitor or look at the performance of that product by Splunk using the Splunk. If you look at the Jenkins, so you have a Splunk app for Jenkins. So Splunk dashboard, it can help you to analyze your DevOps pipeline. So in terms of how many projects are executing, how much is failed, what is the test cases, what is the test result. So each and everything related to your Jenkins, you can get the information from the app. In terms of Splunk certification, right? So the Splunk has got its own certification track. Splunk has got initial track. It is Splunk certified core user, right? And we also there is another track, Splunk Certified Power User and Splunk Certified Admin as well as Splunk Certified Architect. So likewise, you have a four track. Now we generally provide a training, keeping all this certification in mind. Okay, so we have a customized training tracks. It comes for both admin as well as the development. Yeah, so in admin we mainly discuss around Splunk admin part. So along with that, so there are a couple of projects which comes in. Once development track is completed, so there are two projects. So mainly to enable you to start with the use cases. So there are in the project there is a sample use case with sample data set and you are provided with a problem statement what exactly needs to be done with that project. So there are around 10 to 15 problem statements like creating dashboards and it has given typical certain scenarios and based on that scenarios you need to use the data and the Splunk command and you need to build the dashboard, report and all that. So that's how this complete training is structured. So that's one quickly on the outline part what exactly we're going to cover. Now as far as training is concerned, so in the training, so initially we start with the administration topic, right? So in the administration topic, we are going to discuss in how to set up a lab. So generally we use the AWS, so we can guide it across how to set up your lab in the AWS. Alright, so we discuss on how to create Linux instances and how to install Splunk and how to connect to Splunk instances from your desktop. We will guide you across how to set up the lab. For development, we will provide the lab. So in the lab, I'm going to guide you set up your own lab. So it is not one lab and I am doing it everything and just demonstrating. It's something which I'm also helping you to set up your own lab in the AWS, like spinning a couple of Linux instance and setting up your own lab. So it's like I will do it once, I'll demonstrate it, then you will be given time to do it in the class itself or in the post training. So before coming the next class, you can do that exercise. If you are failing anywhere, so we can help it out in the next class. So it's a complete hands-on because administration class certainly required you to perform the things when you are getting into job. So our focus would be making complete hands-on. So as far as document is concerned, so there are customized document and tailored document for this training. Right, so the documents are the usual topics. These documents will be shared across through the Google Drive. As well as we got a set of the certification questions, interview questions as well. So also going to share the recording. So each and every the class, whatever we discuss, we are going to share the recordings across. So that's how training is going to be. So that's for this demo class. If you have any query, so you can reach out to MindMajix and we can, connect in term and I can revert back if you have any query and you can communicate your decision to MindMajix. Thanks a lot. Thanks for your time. Take care. Bye.